Live. Now we're live. It's on Facebook. Yeah. Well, it's scheduled. Like, yeah, everyone will see it. Sure. I don't count. Grab the link for it and throw it on Discord and whatever else. I'm glad we're doing this live. Ah. Mhm. What do you mean you don't see my face? I'm in the bottom right. I gotta click on my face to actually like enable it for me, and I'm backwards. Yeah. Hello? Uh-huh. I went to Walmart and the air hurt my face. Mhm. Has it been a month? No, we did one after that. Really? I didn't show that Savage 64 and the Savage A22? Okay. Well, BRB.
Thing performed, I want to show you what the magazine disconnect looks like on this, because I took it out because the magazine disconnect is stupid.
It is.
So,
For those of you that don't know, Crazy got himself a 380 Walter PPK clone.
So, This is the magazine cutoff safety, the magazine disconnect safety.
Look at that.
So what it is this little spring would sit in here and fit in a notch in the frame here, and this would sit more or less like that. Actually, with this little lip facing outwards. Hold on a second. Oh,
What?
someone else go. Hold on.
What happened? Uh-oh. Something happened. Hey, anyways. Hey, Jenner. Have you done any kind of gun stuff lately?
That's a field.
Yeah, I definitely have. I won a gun, and then I built a gun, and I've been shooting both of them.
I mean, I get it, and I'm
Whoa,
gonna have to
hold on.
really look at it. And work
Whoa.
On it. It was really
Can we mute him? Ah, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, so last month, SFRC does their $20 bumper sticker draws.
Yeah.
I've never entered one, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to enter it. I won a BCL 102 MK7.
Oh my goodness.
And that's it right there. Funny part is, I had also just the week before thought I need something AR-10ish, and I bought the receiver set for a Stag 10. Of course.
Of course.
So I shot the BCL 102, debated what I should do, heard the MK7 was better. And well, what do you know? The Stag 10 is finished for a reason. The BCL 102 MK7 is okay, but it hasn't been without its issues. So
Do tell us, how has it not met your expectations?
the chamber is super, super tight and short, so it doesn't like most of the ammo I feed it. It gets case swipes because it's severely overgassed. I was getting roughly, when I first started, the first 10 rounds were perfect. I thought this gun is good. And then after that, every 4 out of 10 rounds in a magazine would fail to feed. And it didn't matter what ammo, it didn't matter what magazine, it didn't matter any combination thereof. And it was beating the living daylights out of my brass. So
What gun are
bad.
we talking about?
He won a BCL Mark 7.
The Mark 7, the BCL 102. So yeah, it's mid-length gas, which I think is crazy on a 308. So it's severely overpressured. I don't know if you can see that, but that
Yeah,
beats
put your
up
hand
the-
around the base of the brass so it'll focus on it.
Yeah. It's see those marks?
Oh my
What the
god.
fuck?
Oh, wow.
You can't even get that into a like a shell holder to resize that without knocking the burrs off with a file.
What
And
the
that's
fu- is
not
that the
just
is that the extractor or the
that's
ejector?
The ejector. Yeah, the ejector just. So what's happening is it's so overgassed that it's kind of rotating and spinning it as it pulls back. But it's not like I did it with reloads. I thought, oh, it's my reloads. They're too hot. Nope, did it with the Federal Fusion, did it with the Federal Blue Box, did it with that white tail irregular whatever I tried, did it with all of it.
Non-typical Federal.
That's the one, yeah. It's gotten slightly better. In the top of the gun, when I pulled it apart, I thought first, okay, maybe, the failure to feed, maybe it's the magazine. It's got a PMAG. Nope, PMAG does it too. So I thought, okay, well, maybe it's just not wet enough. I've heard an AR-10
Tracy,
needs
mute
to
your
be
mic.
wetter than an AR-15. So I had it so it was dripping. It would literally spray oil in my face when it would reciprocate through the cracks in the receiver. Still wouldn't feed. Tore it apart, cleaned it again. It was full of aluminum dust all up top from I don't know where. Cleaned all that out, and now besides the overgassed issues, it runs. So I might throw an adjustable gas block on it, or I might just put it on gun nuts and sell it. I'm not sure.
Oh, now
I
that is pretty damning coming from you, being like, you know what? I might sell this one because you don't sell guns.
And it cost me $20, and I might still sell it. Interestingly enough, so this Stag 10, the same ammo, the same mags, I tested them all, totally fine.
Yep,
Not an
those
issue.
guns.
No case head swipes, just works.
Yeah, when my Stag was the exact same, and like that's a gun I put together that was maybe potentially slightly overgassed, but there were no issues with the brass. It was just, chucking them a little bit too, like 4 o'clock-ish for my taste.
Yeah. So haven't decided what to do. On one hand, it's not great, and now it is running for now. Hopefully it stays that way. It only cost me $20. So, I mean, one hand you can make a bunch of money on it. On the other hand, it didn't cost me much to get it. So,
I mean, if you feel like tinker fucking with it,
Nah.
yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
I kind of wonder what the other money could get me. Is kind of where I'm at.
well, depends on where you are. If you go to Edmonton, I would say a handy. If you go to Tijuana,
More?
Yeah. So, anyways, I was out shooting that Stag 10 today in the minus 36 weather.
and how is that doing?
Oh, it ran awesome. I've got gongs hung up by fire hose, and the first one I hit, the gong just went flying. I was like, that's weird. So I shot the next 3, and it's so cold, the fire hose is shattering from the impact of the bullets on the gongs. So now I don't have any gongs hanging up anymore. They're all in the
I mean,
snow.
that's just a little bit disconcerting when you think that those things are being used to save your house from burning down.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's, I don't know, different stresses? I don't know.
Well, and they have been out in the sun for a couple of years. I'm sure that didn't help anything.
Yeah,
but,
weather cracking and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Kevlar is probably just Kev now.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it made a really cool noise, anyways. So that was fun. Yeah. Other than that, gun-wise, in the last month, the only other thing is for Christmas, I got this, which is a Savage 1904.
Ooh.
What
built
is
from
that?
1904 to 1915. This is my great-grandfather's rifle.
Oh,
I saw it once when I was a little kid, and then Grandpa hid it somewhere and couldn't remember where anymore once he got Alzheimer's. My dad found it when he was cleaning the place this summer and said, "Hey, I'm going to give that to my kid." So lots of character, kind of old. You can see there it's a little burnt on the top. Grandpa used to leave it strapped to the tractor right next to the muffler. This was his rabbit gun, but
Yeah.
pretty cool. I'm going to leave it just like it is, I think. It's
Well,
missing the rear
please do.
sight, so I might try to find that. But other than that, it shoots, it works, and it's got lots of character.
I had a ton of fun actually using Crover's
Ace 1.
his Ace 122 for rabbits, because it's like there's no weight to it. You only really need one round. Rabbits are dumb; they just sit there and look at you, and it's really nice taking something like that through the woods.
Yeah. The other thing that's unique to, well, not unique to just this gun, but a feature it has, the last 2 inches of the barrel aren't rifled. They claim that has something to do with firing rat shot out of it. It's supposed to be a little better for that.
Those
That was
crazy
the-
old timers. Back when they had weird
That,
ideas.
or it could just be that it's worn out.
No, it's if you look it up, that was designed that way on purpose.
Well,
'cause
you
that
know-
was my first thought too.
I went down the rabbit hole once. Apparently, Remington sold a smoothbore 22.
Yep.
That the whole point of those was for you to practice clay shooting. They sold tiny clays, and they sold a little assembly thingy. I'm not sure how it works, but I think it attaches to like the front of the rifle. And I shit you not, you fling the rifle and it chucks the little clay, and you shoot it with your 22 rat shot shell.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, this, if you look down at the rifling's still pretty good, just till the last 2 inches. And I got looking it up and go, oh, that's intentional. So,
Huh. Yeah,
So it's
that
actually a feature, not a bug.
Yeah. That 581, that Remington bolt action that I reviewed just recently, they have a 580, which is a single shot smoothbore.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So they would have used. Well, it seems completely worthless to me, but
No, dude, that's a snake gun. It's a snake. It's a partridge gun. It's whatever you want to call it. Is you're hiking through the woods and you want to shoot something with number 12 shot out of a 22 shell, which is like 16 pellets, I think.
it's for when you want to shoot pigeons and snakes inside a building without damaging the drywall.
That's
Yes.
exactly it.
Right? It's called rat shot for a reason.
Yep. Yeah, and in the States they like to carry snub-nosed 22 pistols because you literally just point at it like, a meter away,
mouse.
and you make a little cloud and you kill whatever's in it.
Well, that's good. You got to be right up to the stupid.
Well, that's
thing.
that's literally a meter is like, oh, there's a rat in the corner of my house.
It might survive. It might survive a shot at a meter.
I still wouldn't want to get shot by it. That would hurt.
From a snub nose 22, I think I'd take it. As long as I got to wear like a shirt, like a t-shirt, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Put on a leather jacket and it'll just bounce right off.
That was actually some of the stipulations behind some of the testing parameters in the old World War II like testing grounds for like ammunition. That's like one of my favorite measures of lethality is they got 1-inch pine board, and if it went through 1-inch pine board, it was deemed to be lethal. So they literally just put like planks of 1-inch pine board at different intervals, and then just shot things with it. And that's
pretty good.
that's how they how the people in Iraq Veteran 88 found like the lethal range of 12 gauge buckshot. It's like you're not gonna hit anything, but if one of those pellets hit you at like 200 yards, that's still gonna fuck you up.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh. Yeah, I guess a lone pellet just like beans you.
Yeah, but like literally, like just imagine like a big fucking plank of 1-inch pine board. They
Yeah.
just put it at different intervals, and then they just hurled buckshot at it. The video's on YouTube somewhere.
That's super
And
interesting.
yeah, it was
I
like,
gotta see
oh,
that.
you can still die from buckshot at like 200 yards. Well, who knew?
Cool.
Likelihood is low. Crazy. Are you ready to talk about your
Yes,
t-shirt?
sorry about that. So as I was trying to say, so the spring it sits like somewhere down here on the gun, and it goes into this little hole, and then this little hook part hooks over top of this transfer bar here. And what it does is when there's no magazine in, this is down, and it stops the transfer bar, because when you pull the trigger,
Put that in front of your camera. I can't see you.
yeah, when you pull the trigger, that transfer bar moves forward. You'll notice that.
Oh,
It actually moves forward. This little hook here in front of that prevents it from moving forward unless a magazine is inserted and pushes up on it right there with this tiny little lip on the magazine. And that'll push that up enough to disengage it from that slide, from the transfer bar, and allow it to fire when the magazine is in, but stops it from firing when the magazine is not. And literally all you need to do to take it out is just unscrew that. You got to kind of poke this out of the hole because it's under the hole there because it's under tension, and you just pull it all out, and it just comes out, and then no more magazine safety.
I find guns like work really well if you get in there and you just take out random parts until like it stops working, and then put the random parts back in. But like leave out the ones it didn't really need. They're pretty good. It didn't need those parts.
No, it really didn't. Magazine safeties are dumb, and gun companies should stop using them. It literally did not need those parts.
Nope.
But as for how this thing shot, now I bought bulk 500 rounds of Barnaul 380 because it was cheap. It was like 100 and after coupon, I got it for like $175 after taxes on Black Friday. Because I got
we're gonna
like
shit on you for this,
15%
right?
off. Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
And so I go out to shoot this thing, and I'm shooting at 10 yards. I got, normal pistol stick picture, and this thing is shooting like 6 inches low. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? This thing should not be shooting 6 inches low. I didn't think it was possible for a handgun to shoot 6 inches low due to just bad ammo. So
Anticipation. You were just flinching from all that power.
all this power, yeah. So then I started adjusting like the sights. Normally, instead of lighting the top with the top up, I started lighting the bottom with the bottom. It was still shooting like 2 inches low at that point, and I'm like, okay, this is really not supposed to happen this way. So I go on TI's forum on CGN and I ask, hey, has anyone got experience with different kinds of ammo with this? Because this is what I'm experiencing, and I don't think it's ammo, but just in case it is ammo, has anyone else got this problem? And no one responded, so I'm like, okay, I'll buy a bunch of different brands of ammo. So I bought Federal, American Eagle, I bought the Winchester White Box, and I bought CCI Blazer. The Winchester was a little bit low, maybe about 2 inches. The Federal was pretty good. A lot of this shot low, and that one might just be on me, and it might just be that I was aiming at a zombie pig and not a bullseye. because someone else left a zombie pig up there. The CCI, though, I got that onto a proper bullseye, and it was grouping like you'd expect. A bit left, but that could be me. I shoot my SIG a little bit left, too. And even if it's not me, this is windage adjustable. But the CCI was actually the best grouping, shot pretty much exactly point of aim in terms of drop. And so after having all of these ones, with the American Eagle was pretty much okay. The Winchester was maybe a little bit low, and the CCI was pretty well perfect. I go back and put some more Barnall through this thing, and once again, 6 inches low. And I get someone else to shoot it, and they shot 6 inches low. And I got someone else to shoot it, and they also shot 6 inches low. So I was absolutely astounded that Barnall ammo was actually just that fucking garbage that it shot 6 inches fucking low out of this gun at 10 goddamn yards. I didn't think that it would be able to cycle if the ammo was that fucking weak that that is dropping that much, but there you go. This gun does not like Barnall, which of course is the cheapest ammo available. The Winchester, I think the Winchester's about the same price, but Winchester's just really filthy ammo. But yeah, other than that, I now know to basically just shoot CCI out of this thing, and it'll shoot no problem.
Okay, 2 words, Kentucky windage. Just shoot the thing with cheap ammo and
Just
aim high.
aim for the belly button on your perp, and you'll hit him in the balls. Perfect.
Yeah, it's like, put it in his forehead and you shoot him in the mouth.
Given that I'm planning on using this thing in IDPA, I don't want to be having to think about holding a different point of aim compared to point of impact in a competition.
I'm super curious. What's like the gamer gun for IDPA? Is it like
A
Shadow?
Glock 34.
A Glock 34? Really?
Glock 34, because it's still good for standard division, but it's a fucking
Gamer
fancied up goddamn fucking sport gun.
Wow.
So there's that.
It's got a half inch or whatever compared to the Glock 17, but it is nicer to shoot than the Glock.
Yeah, that. It's got the serrated whatever the fuck.
Wasn't that your glitter Glock, a 34?
Yeah, I got a 34.
And then you can use the Shadow in enhanced service pistol, technically, because enhanced service pistol is a single action.
Service pistol.
Yeah, and then everyone in custom defensive pistol is a category that is specifically built for 1911s. When you look at the requirements, it is basically like, we want you to shoot 1911s in this category, but you could technically shoot a SIG P220.
What's
and
the,
piss off all
what's
the
the
boomers.
division where you shoot a 229 with 357 SIG?
Oh, it's the church shooter division.
To answer the
By
question
the way-
seriously, it would actually be in standard service pistol.
By the way,
But,
we might not dwell too much on the church shooting, but holy fucking shit! What are the chances that it's an ex-FBI agent that
Not
has a
ex-FBI.
fucking
Not ex-FBI.
a sheriff, right?
Ex-sheriff's
a
deputy.
deputy sheriff. That doesn't mean shit. That means like he was some old dude who was helpful. That's
Well,
like,
ostensibly, he was also with the FBI at some point for something, and he owns
I
a
didn't
training.
see that confirmed. I saw.
He also apparently owns a firearms
Whatever.
training
He had a
center.
229 with 357 SIG.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Hey, did the job.
One
the
shot,
Zoomer
Be
got cleared
proficient
leather
with your
for
tool.
a bullet fairly ripped.
dude.
The
That
boomer
was
there
insane.
among them had a 357 SIG. 357
I actually really like
SIG.
that big iron cover. I really like it.
Yeah, it was
It was
excellent.
amusing.
The real question for you, Crazy.
Yep.
What fishing vest are you gonna get?
I'm only going to get the highest quality Shimano fishing vest.
No, whatever you get, it has to say either Browning, Remington, or Winchester across the shoulders.
What about Bass Pro?
Ooh.
Oh,
I mean, in that case, I do have a Browning, like, hunting vest, blaze
Oh.
orange.
there you go.
Do they get into like real gamer, like 10 denier, like super thin materials? Basically, you sweep and that shit's out of your way.
Well, what they used to do, and they've banned it, they had guys rigged up a pull string in their offhand so they could pull down and it would yank the other side open so they could drop it. So now apparently, from what I understand, and maybe they've changed the rules again, but the gamer move is to put weights in your pockets so that when you spin, it flops out with some momentum and stays out there for a second.
I mean, I frankly wouldn't doubt it, but it's honestly not that hard to just sweep the jacket out of the way. I don't know. I'm sure people who care more will go and fucking full gamer as much as they can. I don't I don't give a shit. I have a leather jacket.
Hey, Janner, you should take your race gun into one of those IDPA shoots just for shits and giggles.
Shoot it in carry
What about this one here? What division would that fit in?
So
Practical. That's practical right there.
So assuming
17L,
we're
what's it
allowed
called?
carry optics because you got the red dot on it, but it's probably too big. Actually, IDPA has a box.
Yep, the
Oh,
famous
that's not-
IDPA box.
That's not
That's
fixed in
the-
any box, no.
That's the 17L with a compensator. Yeah, it
Oh.
really fits in anything.
Now, apparently, in PCC division, you can gamer the fuck out of your PCC as much as you want. Like, I saw people who were at the one match I was at. They had fucking lasers on it, red dots and magnifiers, fucking everything you want to put on your PCC, you can do it. I had a flashlight on mine, and I took my red dot and magnifier off my AR and put them on my PCC because I wanted a red dot, and then I just put my scope that I had back on my AR again.
That's hot. That's so hot. I love it.
But, yeah, I'm not finding it too... I know, Adriel, you said you didn't really like... shooting with the red dot on that thing. I'm not having too much of an issue with it, but I do have my chin definitely up. It's not resting like in my cheek. It's kind of resting more on my chin at this point.
Grab one of the eBay's got these like cheek rests that you can just
Yeah, like the leather
lace
wrap around.
or strap onto the back.
You guys are using too many words to say duct tape and foam.
The eBay ones are $15, and they don't look like
Well,
shit.
duct tape is $3 and foam is free. Just pick it out of your mattress.
True.
I
But
don't feel like cutting up my mattress to stick it on my gun.
cheek rest would help.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm not having too much of an issue, and I know doesn't recoil enough for me to be concerned about it damaging my jaw. So
No. It's for consistent setting. Because, like, with a red dot, it looks good from all angles. You can be like, oh, that looks good, and there's a red dot that you see at all times, right? But if you get a consistent cheek weld, that dot will be in the same spot all the time, and you'll get a more consistent pull up and
when I
snapshot.
pull up, like I said, I'm welding it against my chin rather than my cheek, and I mean, it's not as much of a space there to kind of push in and get firmly, but I'm not finding any difficulties when I bring it up and acquiring it, but I haven't really been out to the range with it enough, and I actually need to clean that gun because it was starting to do the whole it's dirty, so it's stovepiping thing. But that's what happens after about 1,000 rounds of not cleaning it.
I didn't
I'm
have
not
that
the only
happen
one.
with mine, but I didn't run a whole ton. I clean my guns just as out of like fun.
Yeah, and the first time
You
it
clean your
happened, it
guns?
was
Shame
700
on you.
rounds in, and then I cleaned it, and now it's about another 1,000 in, and I got to clean it. And from what I saw on like CGN, and I talked to another guy last time I was at the range with it, and he's like, "Oh, my gun's kind of stovepiping a bit," and I'm like, "Oh, how long has it been since you cleaned it?" And basically, it seems like about every 700 to 1,000 rounds, you got to clean these things out, or they kind of start stovepiping a little bit.
Oh, there you go.
Oh well, but yeah, that's pretty much the gun-related thing I did was this, and I put that red dot on that. I put my scope back on my AR, and then had a bitch of a time sighting it because I put it on. Theoretically, it should have still been sighted from the last time I took it off, or at least relatively, but I decided to fuck with it and put my laser bore sighter in it and bore sight it, and that was a bad idea because it was nowhere near paper in any measurable thing. So
Did
I
you start at 25 yards?
at first I tried to start at 100 and just figured I'd go
No.
to just drop. Sorry, I
No.
started at
Straight to 100. Like, as long as the mistake was you bore sighted. If every time I've put my optic back on my AR, I'm within 4 clicks.
Yeah, exactly. That was my mistake, and I know better now. But because it was sighted at 100 before when I took it off, it would be sighted
So,
again. So
No, keep going, actually. Keep
so
going.
I started at 100. It wasn't working. I went to 50. It still wasn't working. I went to 25. Got it sighted. Went back to 100. Still couldn't hit shit. And then went back to 50. Sighted it to 50. And now, and then I was like, okay, fuck it. I don't feel like going to 100 again. I'll just leave it here.
So when I went to sight in my stag, I bore sighted it. I didn't laser bore sight it. I just bore sighted. I put the reticle where the barrel was pointing. And on the first 3 shots at 100 yards, because I, similar methodology, I was like, I could start at 25. Fuck it. Let's go for 100. And my buddy was spotting me, and he said, what are you shooting? I was like, I was shooting the bottom paper target. He's like, you're shooting the burn above the board, holding the board. And that was like a good 3 feet.
Yeah.
So what happened to me, I think, is 308 is fast. So that bullet was just fucking going straight where the hell, like basically the barrel's pointing a little bit upwards, and no matter what you do with the reticle, it's gonna be pointing a little bit low. So it's just way too fast. So I had to basically raise the reticle quite a bit for it to actually match where the bullet was going.
I know some guys who can like bore sight and do it consistently, like amazingly good. I can't. I can get it kind of close, but then after that, I gotta.
Well, the thing is, I was doing it in my basement, and I got like maybe like 20 meters.
Yeah, you need some range.
When I had my Howa, when I got my Howa, I brought it into work. We had a gunsmith at the time, and he had one of those bore sighters where it's like the grid, and you stick it in the barrel. That got me on paper at 100.
Yeah,
like right off the bat, and I was surprised actually, but
yeah. And then there's Janitor who just shoots out his window, and then he says, "Yep, good enough."
Well, pretty close. If it doesn't ring the gong, then I get some paper out. Actually, that stag, I bought the optic used off Gun Nuts. And I bought the scope mount from somebody else used off Gun Nuts. Strapped them all on. It was within an inch. It was a lot.
Sold.
That's how it is most of the time with my guns and my stuff. If it's used and it's sighted in, it's usually pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Adriel? What have you been up to? Did you do anything gun related?
there was one.
Oh wait,
what
crazy?
else did you do?
Crazy.
Sorry, there was one thing I noticed when I was sighting my Ruger actually, and I don't know if it's because I took the front sling swivel off to fit the light on it. When I sighted it originally, on the bench to get it, whatever, and I rested it on the front of the handguard, and I sighted it, and then I decided, okay, let's try taking some shots standing, and I'm not fucking hitting anywhere near where I sighted it,
Yeah.
and I'm shooting like I think it was like way low actually. And so then I go and re-rest it again, this time right in front of the mag well, and re-sight it, and then stand up, and I was shooting just fine. So the pressure on the barrel from resting it there was actually moving the point of aim that much, and I was just so surprised that was loose enough to be doing that. And I'm wondering if like the sling swivel actually pressed into the barrel in some way.
Oh.
And that's
So
why
whenever I'm using a rest, it's got to be right as close to the action as possible. If there's a handguard, I try to avoid it
I'm
as much
used to
as
being
possible.
up front on things because you expect the rigidity of the stock to keep
No.
it free floating.
No,
the
that's why glass bedding is a thing, because
The-
stocks are not that rigid.
Well, glass and aluminum bedding. I suppose I should have known better than to expect a $700 9mm would have any kind of bedding in it. But that's why I kind of want the M-Lock handguard, and I found a place that does sell that M-Lock handguard separately. It's 250 Canadian dollars.
Yep. Congratulations. Welcome to the world of Magpul brand shit. Everything's expensive.
Yeah, so I'm actually debating buying that, but I'm debating if I want to spend any money on a gun I don't have that will be banned.
Well, none of us own guns, so.
True fact. True fact.
Anyway, sorry about that. Adriel, you were going to go?
I like your hat.
Yeah, I've got some. I've been getting some camping stuff because I'm gonna do a bunch more maple seed next year, so I need to be moving around. So I got like this down head thing
Is that a Pokeball on it or an egg?
to look warm.
It looks pretty warm.
Yeah, I've been getting into camping gear, not because I'm gonna do a whole bunch of like camping just for fun, but maple seed. I'm gonna do some remote maple seeds where I'll need to camp out at the place where I'm doing the maple seeds. So something like this. The idea with that is that it compacts down really well.
And you can stuff it in your tactical sleeping bag.
No, your wearable onesie sleeping bag.
My wearable onesie sleeping bag, which, by the way, I won my division shooting
Nice.
3 gun in that thing. Yep.
That video is delicious, by the way.
With an M1 Garand and a Gersand pistol and all that kind of stuff. And then I've been getting a couple of other things. I've got a buddy who's into this, and I've been like, he's a big gear whore on this stuff. So I've been getting his like used stuff for like a song, like a bad song. It's all still being sold in stores, and I'm getting it for like a third or a quarter of the cost. It's like, oh yeah, yeah. So I've been getting like cook sets and tents and all sorts of
Those
lighting
little
stuff.
stoves are so neat, but they're so fucking finicky.
In terms of like adjusting the gas on it.
The problem that I found with those is that if they work beautifully, but if they don't, they are fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
you might as well just hold the lighter under the pot at that point, kind of thing.
This is a good one. This is Optimus Crux, but I've got like a couple of other Chinese ones coming, and I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. Anyways, that's not gun related. I'm just mentioning it because I'm going to do a bunch of Maple Seed, and I want to like cover as much of Alberta as possible. So part of that is being able to camp out on
Come
a
to
range.
Calgary, get me trained, and I'll do Calgary for you.
BTSA is going to have a couple of days. I still have to get the ranges and all that kind of stuff set up down
I just noticed my hoodie's inside out.
Let's talk about guns. Okay, I'm sure I didn't talk about this one last time.
Yeah,
Yep.
you didn't.
I didn't. Okay.
December 10th, did you have that rifle at the beginning of December?
I thought I talked about this before.
No, I can already tell you. I
Slamfire.
don't remember
Alright.
seeing that gun.
Savage A22. Now, it's a weird combination of cheap and like good design, but like with cheap materials, which Savage is like that's typically what they do with their guns.
It is.
There's some stuff that I really like. The fact that it's got a flush bottom, the fact that it's adult sized. A lot of 22s, when you buy them, they're kid sized. This guy is like it's a full size rifle in a 22. That's kind of neat. The cycling on it is super smooth. It's like I'll compare it to that.
It's a
that
dual
64.
guide rods or a single guide rod?
Single.
No last shot hold open, I see.
No last shot hold open, which I don't really care about whatsoever.
Does
So,
the front of the barrel have a cutout for the firing pin so it doesn't fuck it up?
well, it'll be fine. Like the 1022 and that kind of thing, and any semi-auto that doesn't hold open will be fine when you pull the trigger because it'll hit some part that's not the barrel or not the chamber.
Okay. That's what I mean. It's like, look at the inside of the action. Is there a little cutout at the top of the barrel?
No.
Interesting.
And they sell 25 round mags for that, I think.
Yes.
They sell 25 round. Like typically, I've been doing a lot of Maple Seed recently, so being able to rest like right there is important for me. But yeah, they sell a big banana mag for it. The mag release on it. So the magazine is again cheap materials, good design. I think good design. With the 1022, when you release the mag, if it's not fully vertical, if you got it canted a little bit, magazine doesn't come out at all. With this thing, it's spring-loaded, so it'll come out even if it's upside down. You press that button, and it comes out. The button is part of the mag, though. So whereas with the Ruger, you can release it from here and then go grab another mag if you're doing IPSC stuff. With this one, it's kind of a captured mag, or kind of like you handle it, right? The mag itself, again, cheap materials, designed well. As you can see, half of it is pot metal, half of it's plastic. So just like kind of weird, kind of very reminiscent of the 1022, but with an Axis style plastic doohickey on the front there. Goes in just fine. So actually, kind of like the mag. I don't like loading it. I think it's a crappy for loading. So all of that, and now there's one thing that I really like about this gun. I got some comments from some people after I showed this on Slamfire, and they're saying, actually, there's one thing that you won't find so great about that. But in most 22s, the shittiest things are taking out the mag. Mag releases on 22s suck, like the semi-autos. Yes. And the other thing that sucks is getting to the bolt. Getting to the bolt, taking it out, cleaning it off. That with a lot of guns, you're going to take the action apart from the stock. You're going to pull some pieces off the trigger group to get it out. With this one, it's got a little point in the back there. You push that in and down, and then you can pry up this dust cover. This is, if you've ever had a Type 81, this is starting to look very similar.
What the fuck?
Wow.
There's the recoil spring with a little dog leg on it, just like a Type 81 or an AK-47. Here comes the bolt. Oh wait, I need to pull that out. And then... Come on.
Mag out.
Mag out? I'll try.
That was a guess. I don't know.
Oh, it's a
go.
Savage.
Here you
Pull
go.
trigger.
No.
Oh,
Just comes
apparently
out.
not.
Just comes
Huh.
out.
Huh.
There's your bolt. Now that is mind-blowing for a 22, for a cheap 22.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
mind-blowing.
yeah.
But I heard that in order to pull this out, some scopes will be in the way and you won't be able to pull it
yeah.
out. So that's one thing I heard was that now you can push it down. It's pretty tight there, but it might cause you to jam up there.
That just
if
means you have to
a
buy a
scope.
quick release rings or something.
Or a medium height scope kind of a thing, right, for your rings, right? So that's
Higher rings, possibly.
yeah, that's possible. The other thing that I also heard as well is this plastic dealie here can break or get punched through and that kind of thing. So this really should be a metal dealie here because that little nub there is what is needed to engage with the back of this guy. That it fits inside there somewhere.
Oh, you know, that probably serves a dual
Right
purpose
there.
as a buffer, and so that's why they made it out of plastic.
Perhaps.
Interesting. That's really neat. Yeah, you're right. Even like the fanciest semi-auto 22 that I ever had was the ZZ512. That's still you needed to completely fucking tear it apart to get it to the barrel to the bolt.
Mm-hmm. And like the little plat, like you guys just saw me put that recoil spring and firing pin and all that kind of stuff in there. And it was just like ram it in there, get it in, and now it's in place. And now this guy, oh, actually let's put it in the install spot. And this guy just kind of goes in there.
Huh.
And
at that.
oh, I didn't put the charging handle on, so I
Nah, who needs that anyways?
it's a detachable charging handle now.
Now that's a feature.
Yeah, so that was interesting. I would say that the iron sights are kind of crappy. I would rather have a stock that's made for a scope because I think iron sights are stupid. But
I agree.
and then the
He
other
said
thing
looking
I
at
got,
a bunch of guns with iron sights.
I got a bunch of guns with iron sights. I grew up with iron sights, but like if I'm gonna shoot gophers or shoot targets, scope. Give me a scope every day. This is the Savage 64 Takedown. So the Savage 64 is the cheapest 22 you can buy, semi-auto, or otherwise.
Marlin 795.
Cheaper.
I mean, I know they're
The Savage 64 is regularly $150. Like you can't get a Marlin 795 for that. And this guy was $200 for the takedown model, and for a papoose, you can't get him for $200.
no,
That's pretty
definitely
cool.
not.
Install is very easy. There's your barrel. It's got.
How does it attach?
Well, it's okay. 1 second. There's a little plastic nub there that's acting against these splines on this guy here, and all you do is chuck it on and start tightening.
Oh, so there is no active lock, and then you tighten it. Just the lock is the lock.
It's got a little plastic detent that acts against these splines here, and that's all that holds it in.
And then it's really awkward to try and hold that thing usually.
Like to shoot it? Yeah, I think I would probably cup the mag, not put pressure on the mag, because putting pressure on the mag of a 22 is a good way to get failures to feed. But I think I would just hold it right there, which is a shitty spot to hold it, but I think it's fun. Like, that's fine. That's fine.
Honestly, I think the only 22 that doesn't really have problems with holding the mag is the 597 because of just how
It's just a bump, right? A bump
it's
on the
just
bottom.
it's just a bump on the bottom there. But even when you get the extended mag out there, it fits so snugly all the way up into that mag well. There's really not any room to wiggle it out of place.
I haven't tried it. I'll see some people doing that this year, so we'll see. Standard Savage 64 mag release, which is like that. Horrible. Still better than the Marlin 75. The Marlin is a two-hander. You got to put your hand like that, and you got to pull the mag out with your left hand. Whereas this one, at least you can use one hand to do it. And
it's another plus for the Remington. It's that just a slide on the side, and the mag falls out.
The Remington's mag release is excellent. It is the mag release that everyone should have. That one's really good. The bolt on this one is garbage because it's the standard Savage 64 bolt. It's like it's really rough and like it needs a little bit more too after that. So it's got that 2-stager there.
Weird.
Taking it apart to get to the bolt is
And yes.
super painful. I would say if you're going to do that,
Why not just fling it out the front?
fling the bolt out the front.
Yeah,
It won't.
that sucks.
Yeah.
Things take down. You think you get then nothing in the front there? It'll just take the thing out and slide it out the front.
There's
That
some
sounds
stuff
fun.
in there. There's a little detent there for the bolt, so you can pull the bolt back and then lock it in there. And then I would use something like that, a 90-degree bore brush, and I would get that in the bore, and I would give it a scrape, and I would use this to like scrape off my bolt face and call it a day. I would
Or
never.
you could just not clean a 22 because who cleans the 22s?
People who want their 22s to work.
I cleaned my 22 and I was very concerned it wasn't going to work afterwards, but I also didn't want it to rust because it's Remington. And the slightest bit of moisture got on it one day.
Yep, that's a fair fact. This guy has a smooth top. The Savage 64s usually have they're milled
Dovetail?
for dovetail,
Yeah.
not this one. So you have to get what are these?
Maybe they finally
Weaver
saw the
16s.
light.
This is fantastic. I would rather, you know what, skip it. Don't give me those crappy dovetails. They're just gonna slip anyways. Drill and tap it like they did with these ones. These are the number 16s. They're the same thing that'll go on a Savage 93, which is their 17 or 22 Win Mag rimfire round. So those are better. Super portable. They bring a case with it. The case is like way too big and bulky. I would just rather stuff this into a backpack or something like that if I could do that in Canada. Overall, a pretty crappily designed rifle, but at least it's cheap. It's going to be the cheapest takedown we can get for a while.
How long's the barrel on that when it's taken down?
Aha! 1 second.
Is it longer than the stock,
I'm
actually?
just going to guess 16
16 and
a half.
Okay, JR Carbine makes a tiny little slingback backpack, the spot for a stock and a barrel and the whole 9 yards. It's a nice pack, but with the Canadian 18-inch barrel, it's like 2 inches too long, so that'd probably fit perfect in one of those packs.
Yep.
Alternatively, a big sock.
I like the big sock. That's a way to go. I mean,
You know what?
Other than that, like this rifle, the one thing I was really surprised with, and this is not made to be dry fired, but I don't care. Check out the trigger press on this thing. It's a 2-stage. There's stage 1. There's nothing
Holy
to it.
smackaroni.
It's
That's big.
It's big, but it's super light.
Okay.
Super light. Watch stage 2.
Oh, wow.
4.5 pounds, which is okay, and pretty okay.
That's pretty clean.
Yeah, and then your reset.
Oh, wow.
Not that bad. I think if you were to put an over travel screw in this thing, that would get rid of that little bit of over travel. This 4 travel probably needs it. It probably needs it just to be like halfway safe, just because it's a cheap design. But yeah, kind of interesting. I think that's it for me.
Okay. Thanks, Adriel. Where do I start? Hey, Jenner, does this look familiar to you?
Oh boy, there's 2 of those?
I know, right?
Whoa, no!
That is beautiful.
But you'd never seen this, Adriel?
No.
What?
Nope. Never seen it.
This bad boy has been making the round southern Alberta for what, like 4 or 5 years now?
Whose is it?
It was our buddy, our buddy Josh. He's probably sicker in the head than me.
Impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, he made himself this. Like, he coated it so the pink is Duracoat, but these are actually stencil stickers. He's got a stencil printer, So he just printed out these bad boys on it and slapped them on this piece of shit. And I say it's a piece of shit. Thank you, janitor, for sending this to me, because the stock just completely gave out over here, as you can see.
Well, just 2 seconds there. In defense of Cincinnati,
What did you do?
that may have been what happens if you put a 3-inch slit in that and shoot it one-handed.
Oh.
That's what happens.
Okay, but is it a 3-inch chamber?
Yes, it
Then
is.
then
And it
it
weighs
should
like nothing.
then that should handle a 3-inch slug.
But one-handed, when it goes cartwheeling out of your hand backwards,
now
because
we're
the gun weighs 3 pounds.
Well,
God,
I'm still
No, that's not-
okay. I accept your point. But yes, this guy was a Cincinnati shotgun. The ones that are supposed to be backpack foldables, they're pretty neat. I plan to use this for Canadian firearm safety course. This is going to be the break action shotgun for some very lucky students.
Oh my god, that's fantastic!
So if you ever end up in one of my classes in Southern Alberta, Calgary, actually maybe I might end up doing these all over Canada, or all over. Actually, I can't do it all over Canada, all over Alberta, Northwest Territories,
God, that's
and
fantastic.
sometimes Saskatchewan lets you do
You're
their
gonna have
courses.
some big burly like hunters, and you're gonna be like show safe on this Hello Kitty shotgun.
Yep. Show safe.
Oh man, how many of them are just gonna start whining like
proof.
little manlets?
You know
Accent
what?
proof.
The funniest part of that is, so I had posted that on Gun Nuts and on Gun Post, and Crover grabbed it immediately. I don't think it was up 5 minutes, and he's like, "I'll take it." I, no joke, had over a dozen people lining up wanting that gun, saying, "If that guy backs out, I will take it right now." And then I had guys bidding it up. I think there's a market for weeaboo shotguns. We should start building them and selling them.
Hello Kitty's like that's like low key shit. That's not even like real weeaboo. I almost bought a Hello Kitty 1022 that was like rhinestone Hello Kitty in a 1022 stock.
So why didn't you?
Because at the time I was in university and $300 was too much money for memes.
That's the wrong
So
answer.
it does lead me to the question, what is Etsy's firearm policy? Because I think we should open a shop.
Look, I have debated it from time to time. It's like, do I want to start like a Duracoating business? Because at the end of the day, all I really need is a compressor and an air gun and a supply of Duracoat. So, like, I see the designs that Sky Customs makes, and like that's all fine and really cool. But I want the atrocious shit market. Okay.
Should buy a bunch of pink MOE stocks and then just stencil some weeb shit on them.
I think I might. So I unfortunately have to kill this gun. I have to figure out how to get to the fucking firing pin. There is a on the breech phase. There is a weird little like cutout around the firing pin, which leads me to believe that if I stick a screwdriver in there and turn it, the whole thing might come out. And then I'll have to take down the firing pin because per regulations, there should not be any live firearms in the course, which is sensible because as you may have heard repeatedly in the States, they just people shooting themselves all the time in these kinds of courses. So the minimum requirement to have a firearm in one of these courses is it must have the firing pin removed. Alternatively, if removing the firing pin renders the action inoperable, it does not work in the Canadian Firearm Safety Course because the firearm must work in that the action must function. So if the bolt cannot move without a firing pin, then you need to have a firing pin in there. But in order to ensure that the gun isn't going to kill somebody, the firing pin should be filed down, and they actually have a couple of other instructions. They say that you're supposed to drill out the chamber a certain amount and the barrel too. And if it's, for example, a slide on a pistol, the slide over the barrel hole also needs to be drilled out.
Yes, this is what I was saying when I said that they had new regulations that want you to deactivate the gun, but not to the standard where it's legally considered deactivated, but to the standard where you can never really shoot it again.
Yes, well, if you take down the firing pin, it's never going to shoot again because it's never going to do anything except click, and that's it. The problem with a proper deactivation is that to do that, they need to weld a rod through the barrel up to the face of the barrel. So you can't really put a fake round in the chamber to prove that it has a round in the chamber if you cannot stuff anything down the barrel and the chamber. There's also other things that the activation has to do, but that's the primary issue with a deactivated firearm. Like when I was planning to do this, I was thinking about buying like AKs and FALs and shit just to have like cool things in the course, and then I found out that those guns are not usable because you cannot physically. So that's one of the guns that I got for that. The other one is a veteran of World War One. Your classic beat to living shit sporterized Lee Enfield. And I gotta tell you, it is a number 3 star from 1918.
And it's got a 5-round shaved magazine.
Somebody magazine by just cutting it down and welding that bad boy together.
It's not uncommon.
I had never seen that.
Understand the law.
And before I did my course, my instructor course, I actually had never handled a Lee Enfield. So the cock on close, it's just fucking weird. Trigger, and then like, oh, it's super easy to open. And then I'm gonna put it around it. Oh, what the fuck? Why is the bolt so fucking hard? It's because you're cocking it on close.
And then if you don't shoot now, the bolt will spring back really easy when you bring it up.
So yeah, I'd never actually handled a Lee Enfield until my course. This isn't restorable as far as I understand because Bubba got to the fucking side of the receiver and made some holes for a scope. That also concerns me about whether or not it's shootable because there is a pair of holes in front of the bolt area. So it's like, I don't know if this is fireable. I don't feel like testing it. So for this guy, luckily, when you take out the bolt, the bolt head just comes right off. You just unscrew it. So I'm just going to touch that off with a file until the firing pin doesn't protrude anymore.
I mean, can't you just take the firing? No, the firing pin goes all the way to the back of the
Yeah, see, that's the problem with bolt actions. Bolt actions, the bolt most of the time, if it's any kind of a Mauser action, it basically holds the bolt together. That's the screw holding the whole thing together, where the you can hold on to. Actually, I'll show you right now. You can hold on to the striker right here. So if you very carefully pull back on it and pull the trigger, ta-da! And you can also pull the striker back, and it will fire again.
And it should have a half cock position.
Oh, look at that! It does. I wonder. No, I don't. I won't be mean. I won't ask them to put it in a half cock because it does have an actual safety.
It's useless. Yeah. The other thing is when you're closing the bolt action, if you pull the trigger as you close the bolt, it will decock it without firing it.
Yeah. And then what I got for the lever action is the venerable 3030. And Adriel, you're going to review this gun, and it's probably going to be the worst gun that's ever been photographed by you. Because Adriel
it's still not a 770.
No, like, I mean, the 770 wasn't covered in rust when he got it, I hope. The receiver isn't patina because I cleaned off the fucking layer of rust that was all over it. The insides aren't fucking rust because I cleaned off the rust that was all inside of this. And I can confidently say that it is mechanically sound, unlike what it was before I got my hands on it. I think I got this gun for $300. which in terms of a Winchester 94 30-30 is absurd. Even on CGA and used ones, I've never seen one go for below $500. I don't understand how these guns are so sought after or that valuable. I mean, it's a fucking fridge of a round flying through the air. I don't understand why anybody uses it. But apparently everybody uses 30-30.
Yeah, it's
And
killed more deer in North America than anything
Adriel
else.
has not done a review on it, so he gets to do a review on this before it goes around teaching people how not to shoot themselves. And interestingly enough, you can actually remove the firing pin on this with one screw, and it will continue to function. So that's going to be super easy to deal with because I'll just pull the firing pin on this guy and hand it to people. It will cock, it will click, it will shoot. The half cock still works. It's ugly, but it works. And yeah, that's going to be the lever action for the course. And then for the semi-automatic, I decided that I was going to have every gun that is on the manual. And on the manual, they've got a Woodmaster. I can't hear what you're saying, Adriel. You muted yourself or something. Is anybody hear him?
No, I can't hear him either.
What did you do? Shit's gone awry. Okay. Yeah, I can't hear you. I've never actually handled one of these. Has anybody actually handled a Remington Woodmaster?
Only at the store, never in. I've never shot one. I know that the action release is in the magazine.
Ganner, you played with one of these things before?
Same as crazy. I've played with one. I haven't shot one.
So, Remington had a manual of arms that they wanted to carry out throughout all their lines. Hence why this is called the Woodmaster, because it's supposed to have the same manual of arms as the Wingmaster, as the Speedmaster, as the Fieldmaster, and as the Hunmaster. What that translates to is that this thing is fucking weird to use. Just as Crazy was saying, when you pull the bolt back, it locks on the magazine. But here's where shit's gonna get really weird, because I can't release the bolt pulling on the thing, and I can't get rid of the magazine. So what's happening, folks? Well, on the other side of the magazine, there is a lever, and that lever releases the bolt on the magazine. And to remove
now
the
you
mag,
can take the mag out.
you see the little tab here. Well, I know, but it's gonna get so fucked up, Adriel, because it's not a push button.
You push it forward. It's a lever.
Push it forward. But there is no real room for you to actually get a proper... Like, it's not a paddle. It's a button that's slightly angled with just enough texturing for you to push it forward, and the magazine pops out. But once the magazine pops out, you can't lock the bolt back. There is nothing. It's all in the magazine body. You're going to love this, Adriel. Look at this. The follower actually moves down when you pull on the little lever on the side of the magazine.
That's your loading lever.
Now, the only issue is, how are you going to have them examine the bore if you can't get the thing to lock open without the mag inside it, and they're not supposed to have the mag inside it?
Sucks to be them. They'll have
just
the hardest
use an SKS.
It's a Canadian firearms course. You just look down the barrel, put your toe on the charging handle while you do it. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I thought you were supposed to put your toe in the trigger guard.
Yeah, something like that.
So what I figure is I will have this, but I'm also considering getting Kodiak to send me a spare firing pin and just have the WK as my other semi-auto for shits and giggles, because that gun's already beat up as it is. But yeah,
I mean, I think that one would be probably better, because right now you've just got a bunch of boring FUD guns. It'd be nice to force people to use something a bit more modern.
I'm heavily considering also bringing my AR, just getting another firing pin and taking down the firing pin of it. But interestingly, this thing's got a plastic dust cover that is integral to the action inside of the action and over the bolt.
Wait, pull that back. Where's this dust cover?
Oh god, this thing is so fucking awkward. You see this black piece? That's a piece of plastic that sits over the bolt. And you can install the bolt back into the action. Oh, actually, I need to talk to you about the fucking disassembly of this stupid fucking...
I was about
No,
to say
don't
this
tell me
thing
anything.
must.
Don't tell me. Let me
No,
just let me just
no,
suffer.
That's the thing, Adriel. You can't disassemble it. You physically cannot disassemble it unless you've got tools. Not just one or two, plural. You need tools to get this thing open. And
It's like a high performance Italian car.
I highly advise
You mean broken all the time and it'll eventually light itself on fire if you use it too much?
something like that. You cannot disassemble this gun. I looked at the fucking manual. The maintenance on this firearm, it literally says pull the action back and spray cleaner down the bore. That's how they tell you to maintenance this gun.
Way cleaner than oil.
Yes.
There's a reason why Remington doesn't make semi-autos anymore. It's because they're all garbage.
They're bad at
Their
making
1100 is good.
No, I mean rifles. They discontinued
Oh.
their semi-auto rifles because they were garbage and unreliable from the very beginning.
Like, I'll tell you this much. If this thing shoots, I will happily use it as a deer rifle because this is actually my own personal Remington 742. The one that I'm going to use in the course is a beat to shit 30-06 Woodmaster that I got. Like, this thing is in worse condition than lever action 3030. It's bad. It's in really bad shape. But I will see what it can do. Actually, no, I won't see what it can do because I already killed it. I filed down the firing pin. So what is involved in actually disassembling this thing is you got to pull this barrel nut off, which is a fucking screw. It's not that you can unscrew it. No, you got to take a screwdriver to that big motherfucker. The handguard comes off, and then there is a roll pin holding together the gas system. So you got to beat the roll pin out. You remove some parts of the gas system, and then you pull the guide rod that's underneath here that has a spring under tension that you have to, I shit you not, pry the action bars away from the barrel, pull this guide rod out, and then the spring fucking shoots all over the place. And then you get to the creme de la creme of moronic gun design. This section right here is actually a barrel lug that is held against the receiver with a nut. In their infinite wisdom, this nut is inaccessible unless you use a proprietary Remington wrench.
Can't just use like a deep socket on that thing? Extension?
No, because the wrench is directly adjacent to the barrel. So a socket is not going to fit over it because the barrel's in the way, and a wrench can't go over the top because the action bars are on either side of the barrel nut. So the only alternative is either getting that specialized Remington 740, 742, 4, or 760 barrel nut wrench, or you can shimmy a adjustable wrench in there and hope to God that you get enough purchase to actually undo the nut, which is what I did for this rifle.
Is it tight? Could you turn down a socket? Like it weaken it, but if it's not too tight.
It took me like a good 5 minutes of fiddling around with the wrench for it to get enough purchase, just enough without completely fucking up the action bars. And I only did it after I completely mangled the fuck out of the one on the 30-06 one. And since this is the one that I plan to keep, this one I took extra care to actually disassemble without fucking it up completely. I shit you not, the nut comes with pre-rounded corners. It's like they want you to not be able to fucking disassemble that thing.
No, they don't want you to be able to disassemble it. It's like my AR. It uses a proprietary Colt Canada barrel wrench to hold the barrel into the upper because it's a monolithic upper.
Yes. So I just finally released the barrel from the receiver, and then you have to pull the barrel away, and then you turn it 90 degrees because the barrel lug is wider than the action bar. So you have to turn it to basically lift it in between the action bars. And then the whole guts of the receiver finally are open for you. And the bolt is a goddamn mess. It is a 6-lug interrupted screw. You can kind of see it when you open the action right here. It's so fucking hard to see. Oh, can you see?
Ugh.
Yeah, there it is.
Looks
There.
like some gross anacrosm. What the hell?
Yeah,
5?
6 lugs.
Six?
6.
Whoa.
And it's an interrupted 4-sided screw that they've cut channels into. So imagine 6 screw channels interrupted into 4 sections.
No
That's
wonder
how
this thing's
thing-
such an unreliable pile of garbage.
Adriel and I have a running bet about what the accuracy of this thing will be. I think you said 2 MOA and I say 3, right?
Oh, did I say 2?
I think you said 2.5.
That sounds right.
Okay, so I have. Okay, so Adriel's got between below 2.5. I've got between 2.5 and 3. Does anybody want to take a guess as to how accurate this thing will be? And we're gonna put federal gold medal match through this thing. Crazy.
I'm gonna say. I mean, it's not a floating handguard. I'm gonna say.
Some
I'm
people
gonna say
get
4.
2. Some people get 2 or 3 MOA out of their Mosin Nagants. Those aren't free floated either.
They do. I don't know. I'm gonna say like somewhere between 3.5 and 4, 3 and 4, somewhere around there.
Janner, do you think
SKS.
this will be more accurate or in between 3 and 3.5? Do you want to take that half an MOA spot, or do you want to go and say that this thing is going to be amazing?
My money's on fail to fire.
Hey, listen to this. Oh, fuck. Hold on.
Listen to this. Locks open.
Locks open. Yeah, let's see. Ooh.
Heard a hammer hit something.
Now, see, in order for the hammer to hit the firing pin and it to fall, you need to make sure the action actually closes first.
It's
That's
so
the problem.
weird because this magazine, the 30-06 one, doesn't have it as pronounced. There is a bump on the follower of the magazine where the bolt keeps getting hung up. And I want to say it's a feature and not a bug because the magazine on the 30-06, that bump is a little bit farther down where the shoulder of the 30-06
What
case
caliber
is.
is this?
This is the 308 box.
Okay.
So I think it's got something to do with feeding for the different length rounds. But it's just so fucking stupid. Like, this thing is so stupid, Adriel. If you try to disassemble this thing, fucking Godspeed. Honestly. It's terrible. And then I actually bought something for my own pure pleasure. It's a 357 lever action Model 92 clone.
From Chiappa?
Yep.
Hey, I've got
Yep.
one of those.
Do you?
Yeah.
The case hardened one?
No, mine's just the blued.
Yeah, I got the octagonal barrel with the buckhorn sights and the case hardened receiver.
Way fancier. Mine's just round.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting for Henry to come out with a loading gate model of their Golden Boy.
No,
Because-
fam. You know what they're gonna do? A
What?
410
Oh,
shockwave knockoff.
yeah, I saw that. But I've heard that they've got one on the way because that's the only problem is if I were to think about going and doing cowboy action, loading a Henry, you
Nope.
got to get your hand in front of the barrel.
Nope.
You DQ.
Nope.
So that's a no. But the Winchester is too expensive. The Chiappa is also too expensive, and the Marlin's a pile of shit. The Winchester also can't really mount a scope if I were to just want to fuck around with it. A Henry with
You're
the
not gonna
case
mount the
gate
scope on
loading,
any of these guns, dude.
if I want to just fuck around with it.
You're not gonna mount the scope in these guns. The options you have are drilling the receiver and putting a Williams peep
Yeah,
sight on it.
but the Henry and the
Or
Marlin
the
are both
Skinner sight, actually.
the Henry and the Marlin are both drilled and tapped for a scope. The Winchester is not, and not really doable. They tried to shoehorn
You
something.
have
into
another
these, but-
alternative. They're rare, but they do sell Rossi Model 92 clones, and they are 2/3 of the cost of a Chiappa.
And they also still couldn't be drilled and tapped for a scope.
Yeah, but dude, you're not gonna drill and tap this thing. It just that's not how they work. That's not how they're meant to be used. If you want
Like
to,
I said, Henry and Marlin both have those options because they're a flat top and side eject versus the Winchester, which is a top eject.
yeah. Well, then you've answered your own question.
Yes, so that's why I'm just kind of waiting for that Henry to do that and waiting to finally fucking move out so no one will get angry at me for buying more guns.
So Crover, now that you have a lever action 3057 or 38 special is what you're going to run in there, just little like bunny fart loads, and you've got a side-by-side shotgun, and you've got a multitude of revolvers. When are the assless chaps coming so you can start shooting cowboy action?
I've already got the assless chaps, honey.
Okay, well, good. Sounds like
The
you're
only
ready to
issue
roll.
is he doesn't have the right kind of revolvers.
I don't. I don't.
I mean,
but,
outdated technology is outdated technology. He's got
Yes.
like modern reproductions of that old-timey stuff.
So
No, none of his revolvers are
interesting
single
that
action.
you mentioned this, and I know people are gonna always suggest it. If you run 38 specials in those lever actions, you better be damn fucking sure that they are maximum overall length, or else you've got hilarious, and I mean hilarious stovepiping, because the rounds will shit out of the action into the elevator and completely lock up the gun. Ask me how I know.
Can I try that?
Yeah,
Can I try
I've-
that with your new 38 357? I got a whole pile of 38 that's like, imagine the case is like, that's the case mouth. It's like, ba-doop. It's like, it's just the tip of the bullets coming out. It's practically flat.
Yeah,
It does not work.
I've heard horror stories of lever actions and shooting 38 out of them.
It works, asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. You've got to have really long 38 special, like maximum overall length in every single round, because I tried shooting 38 special out of this gun and it worked for the first 5 rounds, and the 6th round boop, popped up, got in between the elevator, and then another round was right below it, pushing into the base of the round and completely locked out the action. And that was the day that I did not bring my gunsmithing screwdriver set to me with the range, and that was the last shot that I took with that gun at the range. I've fired that rifle precisely 10 times, 5 357 rounds and 5 38 special rounds, and at 100 yards it printed a very decent 6 MOA.
Very good. Very
It's
good.
actually not bad.
Fine.
No. I
But,
did do one
yeah.
upgrade to this gun, which is I used a little bit of nail polish on the front sight.
Nice. But yeah, with those guns, you want to get like you want to make those you want to use spicy ass fucking 357s in those things.
Dude, the 357 rounds that I fired were 180 grain H110 loaded rounds. It's actually,
Nice.
seriously enough, those 180 grains, you sent those to me, Jenner, like 5 years ago in the IRC Secret Santa.
That's right. Yeah.
I have not seen 180 grain 38 caliber rounds anywhere else.
I haven't
never
either.
seen them.
They were too cool to not buy.
Yeah, and let me tell you, those ones shoot the best out of all the rounds that I've ever tried out of in my 357 revolver. Because the 125 grains, when you load them to max spec, those motherfuckers are doing like 108, like 1800 feet per second, and they're way too hot. Even though they take, like the gun takes it, but they're way too hot. The 180 grains, they're doing like 1200 feet per second, but they're still fucking packing a punch because it's a 180 grain slug. And it shoots so nice out of my 357 revolver, even though they're loaded to max spec H110 loads. If you find those, you should load some up. They're really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a bunch of 357 and 38 brass. I should do something with it.
Yeah, and if you don't use it, give it to me. I'll use it.
I've got a progressive setup for 38.
I've
Is
got
that what you use,
the
cutters?
I got the turret press set up for 38 too.
Oh, progressive. Crank them out. Get 1,000 done in an hour if you've got some guys helping you. You got
Or
some-
little children hands?
maybe.
So that would probably help me because I've actually been so lazy that I tumbled the brass like literally 3 months ago, and then I only just got around to depriming it last weekend, and I still haven't bothered to go and prime it, and I'm going shooting on Sunday. So I guess Saturday I'm making 300 rounds of 38 at this rate.
Oh, somebody speaking Spanish in the Facebook chat.
Indeed.
Como cuando no hablas inglés. Victoria, yo hablo español bien, pero a mí no me gusta hablar español porque estamos hablando con gente que solamente habla inglés. ¿Por qué estaría yo hablando español? There. I just told him to fuck off.
Gracias. Gracias, mi amigo.
Anyways, is there really any news? Do we have any news since the ban? Not really.
Someone wanted us to talk about the upcoming SHOT Show, but I have no idea what's going to be at SHOT Show, and I kind of don't care.
SHOT Show for them to announce things that they didn't know about before.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, the only thing is Colt's brought the Python back, but it's still overrated.
Yes. I was watching a side-by-side comparison by the Colt Gunsmith of their new thing. It's supposed to be beefed up and less prone to the problems of the original Colts, which, by the way, all of those people that bought the fucking gigantic pythons because you watched too much Walking Dead, congratulations. Your guns are prone to going out of time way before any of my Smiths.
People back in the day used to go and take Colt barrels, because Colt did have better barrels, and they'd put them on Smith & Wesson actions because they were less likely to go out of time.
Now, the action is supposed to be stronger and less likely to go out of time. And Rangeview Sports has them a pre-order for $1,300.
Those are the King Cobras, technically not the Python.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That goes to show how much I care about those things.
As far as I'm aware, they are different revolvers. I'm not 100% sure.
We need to talk about it. I just remembered is, so how about that Kodiak and Wolverine, eh?
Thanks, North Silva.
Sorry, you guys done talking about revolvers? Oh, thank God. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about something else.
You uneducated swine.
I was just feeling my life force falling away there. You guys are talking about those revolvers. Woo.
Us boomers over here talking about our big irons.
Big iron on your hip, yeah.
I have a holster for that 357 revolver because Janner sent me one.
Didn't you say you did your holster course at Victoria Fishing Game with it?
Fuck yeah, I did. I shit you not, every other person on the range when I was doing my holster course had a Glock or a SIG. And there I am with an 8-inch barrel 357 that would rattle everyone's teeth down the line every time I fired a 125 grain H110 max load rounds.
I've got a Kydex for mine.
Go take your black badge with that.
Dude, I will.
Did you even do a black badge with that?
Sure, there's an IPSC revolver category.
Yeah, but it's a maximum 5-inch barrel.
Words.
Bring what you got.
So I actually checked that for IDPA. It's maximum 4 1/4, and that's specifically for Canada.
So gross. You need at least 8 inches of barrel.
Yeah, gotta get that speed up.
Yeah. Gotta get 180 feet per second out of your 125 grain projectiles. Isn't that right, Dan?
That's right, yeah.
Bubba's pissing hot hand loads. So yeah, Wolverine and Kodiak Defense are no longer in partnership. Let's speculate wildly. Adriel, go.
I'm being put on the spot. Well, they did make that WK-180 with North Silva, and I think Wolverine did the design on the WK-180 and did a whole bunch of work with them to get a pre-order and get some money for them so they could buy some stuff. I'm speculating. And I don't know, that might be it. Some people have speculated that it's quality issues and that kind of thing. I don't know. I think it's they're. But then, okay, so they named Kodiak and a couple of retailers, West Rifle and Sarminger or something like that, which looks to be like an offshoot of West Rifle. So I'm not really sure what's going on there.
So I know West Rifle and Kodiak had a previous agreement, and that's what got Kodiak making CZ clones, was because West Rifle got them to go and do that for West Rifle originally. And I think that was like the WR762 is what they called it, which is a Canadian-made VZ58.
Yeah, I played with one of those.
Obviously, you accept WR would stand for West Rifle 762, and then WK, everyone looks at that and goes, oh, Wolverine Kodiak. Makes sense. But
yeah, Yeah, that relationship seems to have ceased, and it is both Adriel and I's opinion that lawyers are about to get involved, and there's a shitstorm coming.
We won't
I
hear any
kind
of
of
that though, because that'll be between lawyers at those two companies, and
See-
they won't keep it in the public eye on that. So at least if they're doing it right, it won't be in the public eye.
court documents, as far as I'm aware, are publicly accessible. Someone will find it.
They won't
But-
publicly file. You can use lawyers to talk to each other and threaten each other about stuff and settle stuff out of court, and that would be in the best interest of both those guys. If they have some sort of grievance, that would be the way to roll.
The other option is just for the political aspect of it, because Wolverine wanted that gun to be something non-restricted and for people to use that was reliable and whatever. He honestly might just at this point just go like, you know what? What's better for this is I just walk away and just leave it to them now and just say, you know, I fucked up and not do anything beyond that, because it'll still end up being better for Canadian gun owners in the long run. But
well, as long as
worse
they don't
for
keep
him.
making that
There's
North
a
Silver
pile of
version.
money involved in this. That's my take on it. There is a pile of money tied up
Not
somewhere.
really. Not
Well,
really.
that's the thing. There has to have been a significant investment by Wolverine in this, and then that investment was then potentially used by Kodiak to get themselves up to where they could sell a similar design to North Silva, because that seems to me like too big of a coincidence that North Silva announces this
Oh yeah.
god awful. I mean, I am a huge defender of the WK's aesthetics, even though January Pants would rather just throw that thing in the waste bin than own it. And I think that the Nord Silva 180 is probably the worst looking gun that I've ever seen.
It's solving problems that didn't need to be solved.
See, the only thing I could wonder is, are there even any intellectual property disputes to have? Because this is based on an AR-180, which is going to be well out of patent.
It might not be based on that. It might just be considering like a contract. It's like this contract is between Wolverine and Kodiak to produce rifles based on the AR-180 design improved by Wolverine, and then they took all that R&D and then jammed a fucking AR-15 charging handle in there somewhere and called it something else.
Yeah.
But somebody else somewhere exchanged money.
But
and
that's why I'm wondering with this is a matter of intellectual property. Because Wolverine, as far as I'm aware, Mr. Wolverine did this kind of as a pet project in his spare time.
Yeah,
so
John,
the
right.
R&D and development of that would have been all on him personally. And I guess Kodiak was probably just who he looked at who was capable of building it. And that's why he went with them for the partnership for that. But in terms of like the intellectual property, if he designed that, it would go independent on if he sold the license to Kodiak, or if he sold the patent, or any kind of, if there was anything proprietary, or if he just licensed it to Kodiak for them to produce, and then they're developing on the license on the patents of Wolverine stuff inappropriately, which would potentially make Wolverine basically give him the rights to the NSR, I think, or rights to compensation for it. But I think the issue is, given that it's an AR-180 there, and then the NSR is kind of hybridizing it with the AR-15 again, since they're both established designs, I'm not sure that, especially on the WK, if there's really anything proprietary enough to warrant giving it a new patent, or whether everything is already covered by existing patents to the point where Wolverine doesn't have any intellectual property rights there.
Well, I don't think they like Wolverine didn't patent that, did they?
I don't know. That's the only.
No.
If I'm gonna think really hard about this, there is basically like three main areas where the WK is just not an AR-15. It's the receiver, the safety, and the bolt carrier group. Because
Gas system, action.
the gas system, yes, it's still a short stroke piston, but it's located in the exact same area as a AR-15's gas piston, so that it can still use AR-15 barrel nuts.
So that was the whole thing with this, though, is it was meant to be an AR-180, which we based on the AR-180B specifically, because that was already FRT non-restricted.
Yeah.
So that was exactly what they based it on. But then they modified it to be able to accept existing AR-15 parts. But the thing is, all of those components of the AR-15 that they're putting on it would all have their own patents that long expired in the 60s or 70s. And everything for the AR-180 would have also expired in terms of the patents. So the only thing is, would they have been granted a patent for merging the two together or not? And I'm not 100% sure as to whether the patent office would grant a patent for the novelty of merging two existing designs covered by pre-existing patents that are already expired. Because if they did, then there's a potential dispute here from Wolverine's side for intellectual property and it being infringed and improperly developed on by North Silva and Wolverine without his consent on the license. But it could also depend on his licensing agreement for the use of the patent by Wolverine, because it could have included the right to develop upon his patent as long as they compensate him for future developed firearms.
That's where I think the issue is. I don't think this is a patent thing. I think this is a contract thing. Like Wolverine and Kodiak had a contract, and Kodiak did not meet that contract.
Well, that's the whole thing with that contract is the contract would be about the intellectual property. Because
I don't know. It doesn't necessarily have to be. It could have been like, you promised us that you were going to produce our rifles for us for this amount of time at this price point with this level of support, and you have not done that, and instead you have wasted our time.
Yes, but
you have wasted our time, our customers' time, and gone ahead and gotten another business started where you should be providing us with services. That's where I think the issue is.
The issue is that second business, and that's why I'm thinking it has more to do with the intellectual property than it does to do with their contract, because there's no reason that they wouldn't still be able to fulfill Wolverine's contract working on the
100% see it be like a breach of contract. They did not give us the level of customer service that Wolverine expected from Kodiak. Simple as that.
Potentially, but I don't. I don't know.
All they have to do is go, how many pre-orders are currently in the queue that have been from the get-go and still not fulfilled? Like, there's people still out there with pre-orders that haven't gotten their rifles
from the beginning.
Maybe not the beginning, but there's people with pre-orders that are still going.
They've just been perpetually pre-ordering is the thing, because you kind of had to with this. There was nothing in production, and they didn't really have the capital to have them produced before selling them. So you had to run on pre-orders there. But that's the kind of the perpetual thing of pre-order. They sold the entire.
I don't know.
First
Janner,
stock.
do you even still own one of these things?
I got mine in February. I opened the box, dry fired it once, and sold it.
Didn't you do that with something too, Crover? You got something, looked at it for 3 days, and got rid of it.
I can one-up it. I got my SLR receiver set. I opened the box, took a picture of it, and posted it on CGN and sold it in 2 hours.
For more, like, wasn't it 1.5 times what you paid for it?
Yeah, I got $1,400.
You don't need to say how much you paid or
Oh
sold.
no, I will, because that's, maybe we won't speak to this to death, but I have seen, for some reason, absurd levels of inflation on the ATRS Modern Sporter sets. Like, there's people asking $3,000 for those.
There's reasons for that.
Oh, please do tell.
What is the market value of that receiver set?
$1,100.
The market value is what the market will buy it for. So if there are a whole pile of wanted to sell at a certain level, that's the market value for a certain firearm.
Yep.
God, I love capitalism.
I guess, because I have not seen the only. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. The only modern sporter that I haven't seen reasonably priced was a set here in Calgary where somebody had gotten the receiver cut to accept an ambidextrous bolt release. So there was a big fucking slit down the side of the receiver.
And that the whole idea with that market price is if there's a buyback.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, if you got lucky enough to get on that queue and got your receiver for $1,100, I guess now you're looking to make $3,000 off that.
Cool.
That is just absolutely absurd.
Nah.
Like,
But dude, I'm on CGN every hour or so, and that's what those things are going for. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Do you have one of those right there? Is that one of those, Scanner?
It is. I won that. That one cost me $150 entry.
Oh.
I
Boogaloo!
wonder if anyone's selling these yet, and if so, how much they're asking for them. Because these things sold out in like a week.
I haven't seen any of those pop up on the. Although I did see that now they're bringing in a 22.
Yes, they were bringing the 22 at the same time. They just didn't do as good of a job advertising it.
Oh, I'm kind of curious because it's a 10-shot 22.
Yeah. They had this. They had the 22 with the long barrel for quite a while in this, and now they're just bringing in the 22 with the same length of Canadian long dick on it.
Yeah, chode barrel. You mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't see any of these for sale, which means either no one shot them enough to realize they don't like them, or no one doesn't like them. I can understand why people were saying that straight recoil, like straight blowback, is snappier recoil. It is.
I've never shot a straight blowback pistol. I've only shot lock breech pistols with a Browning tilting barrel design.
You've shot a straight blowback pistol. You have a 22 that's straight blowback.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count. At the
Good
22.
point. Good point there.
Yeah. Quit disproving what I'm saying. Shut the fuck up. Do we have anything else to cover? I think we covered a lot of shit today.
I think so.
If drug companies can get new patents for slightly modifying their old product, I imagine Wolverine could get one for smashing AR-180 and AR-15 components.
Well, the AR-180B is an AR-15 and AR-180 combined. Like the original AR-18 had a magazine that was some proprietary piece of crap, and it had.
Well, did you also watch that Mac video?
No.
No, okay. Because Military Arms Channel just did a video like 2 weeks ago about the AR-180, and I learned quite a bit about it.
Yeah. No. Oh, I didn't know about that one. Like the B2 that we have here in Canada has like a full polymer lower, and the original didn't have that. The original was more like an AKAR. Anyways, long story short.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could get a patent. They probably.
I suppose there it exists. I mean, I'm pretty sure those have different FRT numbers too. The AR-180 and the AR-180B. So
very different. Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically the same thing, just slightly different with one magazine from a different rifle in there. So
the 180s are prohibited too. The 18s, the AR-18s, and
yes,
I think the AR-180s are prohibited too.
Yes, the original AR-180 is, and that's why you look at the AR-180B and you're like, well, it's interesting this got around. Technically, when you look in the regulations, the Scorpion auto pistol is also illegal, but I guess they just don't know what that is, and when they see VZ61 or VZ60, VZ61, they're just like, okay.
No, that's not a pistol. That's a rifle.
It's a rifle, but I guess it's not a variant or modified version of.
Well, I mean, that must be similar to the VZ58 versus like the whatever the fully automatic ones are, because technically it's the same gun. It's just
well, except those weren't banned by name. The RCMP banned a large swath of the ones imported as converted automatics.
That's right. Okay. I think we're good for tonight, unless anybody else has got anything else to talk about.
I mean, the only thing
we should
that
try
is,
Twitch next time.
We'll try Twitch?
Yeah, we should try Twitch.
Yeah. So the only other thing I've noticed is that anti-gun doctor group's actually got enough shady money to run fucking TV ads.
Oh, yeah, I saw that pop out in the political thread.
Like cable TV or like
cable
CBC?
TV, like Global. They're running it on fucking Global. And people have said they've seen them on the History Channel, too. Like, I don't know where the fuck they get this money from, because that's going to be costing, like, millions of fucking dollars to run that shit.
No, not millions. It's like, to run a TV spot, you're looking... Like, a good TV spot with national coverage, you're talking, like, 10 to 30 grand, somewhere in there. I
remember hearing that it costs more than that for just radio.
No. Much cheaper than that. I'm an advertiser.
Because I know that's the thing, is like, where are they getting the money for this?
It's expensive.
They don't have grassroots funding.
They don't have grassroots funding, and I believe, No, not the doctors. The Wendy Sukie's group has had some help with the creative from some ad agencies. So some ad agencies are like, "Oh, you're against guns? Yeah, us too. We'll just help you guys for free and do some free stuff for you." So they've had some help on the creative side. I can't imagine they'd actually comp out the ad spend, and the ad spend would probably be whoever's giving the money. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. That's basically the CCFR. Everyone's like, "Why isn't the CCFR running ads?" And Tracy Wilson's response is, "Because we don't have the money to do that. It's expensive."
Yeah. I mean, they drove that bus across the country. That was cheap. Like, grand scheme of things, you look at the cost of that compared to the cost of a billboard, much cheaper. It was a good idea. It's just, yeah, doing TV ads is expensive.
Well, and then there was that whole debate they tried to host. The doctors didn't accept. They were offering $15,000 in charity donations for that, and the doctors just didn't accept. And of course, no one's ever going to hear about that because no mass media is going to report that the doctors' fucking anti-gun group left $15,000 to charity out on the fucking table because they refused to debate the gun lobby.
I think that's a problem with media coverage because well, there was a thread that I was commenting on Reddit's Our Canada, and it was the CBC article covering the Winnipeg police officer saying like, some reporters like, "Oh, what if handguns were banned?" And he's like, "That's not going to do anything. No, the people who are doing these crimes, the people who legally own handguns, there's 100% separation between these people." And he mentioned that CBC wrote an article. Someone posted the article to Our Canada, and Our Canada deleted the thread.
Yeah, there's issues in our Canada. That's what I'm going to say on the matter.
Well, our Canada and media and social media and media in Canada, it's always going to be one-sided on that stuff unless the government brings it up and starts talking about it. And the only government that's going to talk loudly about that is the Liberals. The Conservatives aren't going to talk loudly about it. They'll sweep some like small thing in, but they won't do anything major.
Oh, I guess the Conservative leadership race is officially underway.
Yes, and so far the people who have announced are some MP no one's heard of. I've even forgotten her name. Erin O'Toole has announced. Pierre Poilievre has announced. Brian Burlock pulled out and put his support behind Peter MacKay running. And people are still hoping that MacKay and Ambrose would run. Realistically, from what I understand, we should not elect Poilievre as the leader of the Conservative Party. Because the whole idea of this is to try and appeal to a wider voting base, and Poilievre is one of the more socially conservative options who's running this time around, which is a terrible idea. Rona Ambrose or Peter MacKay would actually probably be two of the best options.
Ugh.
And of those, Rona Ambrose would probably be the best.
I don't like either of them. I'll vote for Rona Ambrose if I have to, but they're both.
Oh, was it Adriel and you and I were talking? Was it Michelle Rempel?
RBF.
Michelle Rempel. She needs to run.
Michelle Rempel would be fucking badass. If she voted, I would be pumped about. Or if she ran, I would be pumped about voting for her. Everyone else on the Conservatives is like, eh.
See, the only thing is, Rempel's only really known to gun owners. She's not really known to anyone else in the Conservative Party. Whereas Ambrose is a big name, O'Toole's a pretty big name, Poilievre's a big name, MacKay's a big name. This other lady who's running, like, no one knows who the fuck she is.
Anyways,
she's got a dream. Anyways, I think that's pretty good. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I don't want to do another politics one.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Adriel, kill it. Have a good night, everybody. See you in a month or whenever the fuck we get enough time to do this again. Bye.
Later.